These are a very pretty little and extremely extraordinary group of plants called Selaginella. And Selaginella, I think it means spike-like or something like that, because these look like little spikes. And these plants are extremely old, and they evolved some 400 million years ago. And they were there, and in those days, 400 million years ago, the earth had very high atmosphere, had a very high carbon content. And these trees and all, flowering plants and all hadn't evolved. So these are one of the very primitive plants that evolved roots, stems and leaves, but no flowers. So it's a pre-flowering stage in the evolutionary scale, and it has it has two types of spores, big and small, and the big ones they serve like an ovary, like an egg, and the small ones serve like the male sperm, and that's the pollen, and so it's a precursor to the flowering plants. And in that carboniferous age, these Selaginella had dominated the earth, because there are no other big land species, and the flowering and all hadn't started. This Selaginella had evolved roots, so it had a big advantage. It also had stems, so it could grow tall, and it had leaves, so it could harvest a lot of carbon. So they took over the earth, and they captured millions and millions and millions of tons of carbon from the atmosphere, and that is what we find as coal today. When they do coal mining and all, that coal is actually the deposit of these Selaginella type of plants 350 million years ago. So we have to thank these tiny group of these tiny plants. They are tiny today. At one time they were big. This unusual plant, because they captured so much carbon that oxygen increased, and conditions got created where we all could evolve. Then apart from that, another feature of this Selaginella is, if you take a dry piece of the plant and you put it in water, it will resurrect. So it's called resurrection plant. And then in India sometimes it's called Sanijivini plant, because that revived in the Ramayana, that famous Sanijivini plant is there that revives dead people. But it can't be Sanijivini plant, because in the Ramayana this Hanuman had actually gone all the way to Himalayas to get that Sanijivini plant. But these Selaginella, they are all over Kerala and South India itself, so it doesn't make sense why someone should go all the way to Himalayas to get this Selaginella. But anyway, it does have that unique property, and it has 800 species. They are spread all over the world. 800 species in this genus, this Selaginella group of plants, and India itself has quite a few, though exact number nobody really knows. And in our South India, this one comes, one of the variety of Selaginella. And this Selaginella, the various varieties, that the species, some of them occupy the forest floor, some grow on trees, some grow on rocks. This is a rock only. This is just sheer laterite rock, and this is a place where the road water flows. and in some little crevice over there it has come, and the seeds also form, so they spread quietly. When you look closely, you find quite a few are there. I couldn't find a wall covered with this Selaginella, so I had to make do with a small specimen plant. Now I'll show you a little more, few more baby Selaginellas that are just emerging, and then I'll close this video. Now on the sheer wall of this, the sheer wall here, see the little babies are emerged. So it's coexisting with this, some mosses are there underneath. These little chaps have come, and they're very pretty. Lots of them, hundreds are there. Now suddenly the rains have stopped, so they are a little bit hesitant. If it rains revive later in the monsoon and they cover the wall beautifully, then I'll do one more video about them. So very interesting Selaginella resurrection plant, and they can be grown also in pots and all, but you have to have high humidity.